Welcome back to our Virtual Cafe Summer Speaker Series. I'm joined today with Eley May from Flexercise. Welcome, Eley.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited to have you on board. We're talking all things about goal setting today and inner voice when it comes to flexibility training. But obviously today's topic, it can be applied in so many different domains of our life. But I know you yourself have a real passion for flexibility and mobility, being a flexibility and mobility coach based in Australia and online. So we'll be applying a bit of what we're talking about today specifically to the flexibility realm. But yes, thank you so much for joining me today and for the rest of the Pole Physio viewers. We really appreciate you giving up your day or your time, not your whole day, but a fair
I love this. I absolutely love talking on this topic. So thank you so much for having me. And it's just something that I'm so passionate about. And I know it will help lots of you guys watching get towards your 2023 goals and beyond.
Love it. So a lot of people will be thinking about, okay, goal setting. They know what we mean by goal setting, but the inner voice, they might get a little bit confused by when we're referring to that. So I guess we're talking about today when we're referring to our inner voice, we're referring to how it can allow us to either sort of progress or potentially even hold us back from our potential, our true potential. And again, it can be in relation to flexibility goals, or it could be in relation to pole or aerial specific goals, or just your day-to-day goals. So Eley, do you want to start by chatting to me about, goal setting, about how, I guess, you've mentioned 2023 already. It's the new year. A lot of people doing the whole new year, new me vibe. And it's really hard to keep that alive, that the goals that you create at the start of the year, it's really hard to kind of keep them going throughout the year. What are your thoughts about how we can start in terms of changing that process from this feels really hard to be able to do to maybe keep it going throughout the year?
Oh my goodness, there's so many ways we can do it, and it can be really overwhelming. So here we are, it's 2023, like you said, we're at the start of January, and a lot of us have set really big goals, which is very exciting. And what we want to do is build a really awesome toolkit so that not only our conscious mind, but our subconscious mind has something to work off when that January motivation goes, because it will. Life will happen, we'll get busy, new priorities will come up, we might get sick, injured, whatever happens, that's okay. That's going to happen no matter what. That's not in our control. But what is in our control is the choices we make that are going to either align us with our goals or pull us away from those goals. Yeah. And the more compelling that we can make our visualization of achieving that goal, and the more compelling our why is, and I know that sounds a bit, ugh, what is my why? The more compelling that is right now when we're setting the goal, well, then the easier it's going to be for us to even unconsciously take action towards our goal when life gets tough. So let's talk about your why. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the why?
What is the why? I don't even know. No, I do. I don't. I never knew. So when I was starting out my business, I went to so many fitness conventions, women in business talks, where all these beautiful and inspiring women were getting up, and men, sorry, but we're getting up and talking about finding your why. You have to know your why. And I was like, what is my why? I don't know how to find that. And it took actually years and lots of mentors and lots of coaching for me to find my why. And it was very overwhelming until one coach just said to me, okay, so you want to coach people in their flexibility, for what purpose? And I was like, oh, because I want people to know that they can move their bodies any way they want them to move them. And she goes, oh, okay, for what purpose? And I was like, well, because I've always moved my body and I know how good it feels, blah, 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 blah. For what purpose? She kept asking me this, literally, for what purpose? That's 3 words, 2 syllables, 3 words. For what purpose, right? And we got down to the heart of the matter, which was way deeper than teaching someone how to become more flexible. Yes, that was the surface level goal for me, but the deeper purpose was, I want people to believe that they can physically do anything that they dream of in their bodies and in the whole realm of their life. So now that I know that's my why, then of course I'm going to make huge action towards that goal, because it literally speaks from my heart, right?
Yeah.
So how easy is that? That is not intimidating. That's not a hard way to find a deeper purpose for your goal that you may have set. So let's think about, like, well, obviously I work in flexibility. So many of my members and clients want to hit a splits touchdown.
Yes.
For what purpose? You know, for some of them, when I ask my clients this question, we get down to some incredible things where my whole body gets like goosebumps, because I'm like, they don't really want the I don't want to say trivial, the surface level goal of getting the splits. Well, yes, that's going to be great to be able to do it, but they want it because deep down, like we do that question, we go down, there's like a whole page, you know, worth of writing, and we'll go down that kind of rabbit hole, and we'll get to, because I never grew up dancing. I'm, you know, 40 years old and I've never done anything like this. And if I can do this, then what else can I do in my life? And like, doesn't that just give you goosebumps if someone said that to you?
Yeah. If someone actually put that on their sleeve and like wore their literally their deepest feelings on their sleeve, absolutely. But we don't do that. We put superficial labels on things and go, because I just want it. It would be a nice thing to have because I then want to translate it onto the pole. I want to vertical split on a pole, or for, you know, so forth. Like I want to be able to do tricks, but why? Why do you want to do more tricks?
Right. Okay. So that's how that's a really easy way to find out why. And I literally get, I very much feel things like that. And I think a lot of us in the movement space do, you know. So if you are able to access that within yourself, then yes, when life gets tough, maybe not every time, maybe you're not going to go to class every single time, maybe you're not going to train the exact training schedule that you might have set out every single week or every single day, but for the big picture, you are going to take conscious action towards it, because it literally sings to your heartstrings. Like it pulls on them. And that's like, why do we all want to do anything? Like there's a deeper purpose behind most of the things that we do.
Absolutely.
So that's a really useful way to be moving you towards your goal, because once you also bring it out, like you've dug it out from that subconscious place or that unconscious place, you've said it consciously, and then your subconscious has heard it again and felt everything you just felt. And then it's kind of tucked it back away in that folder in your body, so that when you're making your choices throughout the year, you don't even know that you're making the choices towards it, but you will get that goal.
Yeah.
You know?
Very powerful stuff, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. And just understanding your why is so crucial to be able to unlock so many things within your life. Yeah, like I said at the start, it's everything from flexibility, mobility goals, all the way through to, you know, business related goals, personal related goals, and so much more.
Right.
So in terms of finding your why, so is it something that someone should do by themselves and they sit down there and they just try to get down to the crux of it, or is it something that they should do with a friend, a colleague, a mentor? What's sort of the process in terms of going about finding the why?
Well, there's not really a right answer, is there? I feel like we all kind of in our best space in different ways. Like I know for me, I love conversation. I love being, my word for the year is expansion. I love being around expanders like you, Sim. Like, as when you asked me to do this, I was like, of course, because when I walk away from any interaction with you, I feel expansive. I feel like I can grow. So for me, I'd like to get together with a friend and say, hey, and if they didn't know that, like if I wanted to work through this, I have a really beautiful group of people around me that I can just say, hey, I really want to work through this. Can you just ask me this question? I even say it to my partner often, if I'm getting into a negative space, I'll say, can you just ask me this question so that you can help me and I can dig myself out. So I think it's cool to have a conversation sometimes with your mentor. Cool. If you have a mentor, great. Coach, friend, whatever, write it down, whatever. Like there's no right or wrong. Whatever resonates with you is perfect. And I think that's another thing with goal setting. I think a lot of people want to get it right, or, you know, you have to follow this process. There's SMART goals and you do the process and they're really, really awesome and useful. But there's other ways to get there too. And there's no right or wrong way. You can design a SMART goal in conversation too.
Yeah.
And then you can go away and write it down, you know. There's lots and lots of ways to get there. But yeah, so I think along with that compelling why, you need to then go ahead and create a really compelling visual of yourself achieving that goal. And I'm talking like down to every detail. Where are you? Are you outside? Are you inside? Is your best friend there? Or are you with your coach? Are you doing the Flexercise Online Splits program? Is there music playing? Are you like, what are you hearing? Is someone there cheering for you? You know, like ask yourself all those questions. Bring it up. What have you said to yourself 10 seconds before you hit the touchdown? Did that inner voice that usually says, no, you can't do it, did you challenge it? And did you say, oh, but what if I could? And then you just took a breath and you were like, boom, cookie to the floor, right? Like how much can we build that compelling visual? How much we do build out that compelling visual, that is going to help you achieve that goal. If you can create it in your mind, it is already within your physical body. We just have to do the work, commit to it, and decide it's ours.
Oh, I love that. I'm getting chills.
I get chills on this stuff.
So I love it. I love it so much. So in terms of like goal setting, for me personally, I used to do the word of the year. I had forgotten about that I used to do that. So you just saying that brought that back up for me in terms of memories, where I'd start the year with a word that would encapsulate what I'm trying to work towards. So I love expansion. I think that's a great word. Good choice. So that might
Let's
be
share it.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say it might be a great word for someone watching at home, but others might be able to use that concept and find their own individual word that's going to represent what they're trying to achieve for the year. And I personally, in the past, so I have a vision board. I'm very much so a visual person. I like to see my goals and not even written goals, just like pictures representing what I'm working towards, and whether it's short term versus long term, doesn't matter. And I sort of separate things into areas of, pole mobility, personal, life, like friends, family, money, business,
Love it.
travels. Like I'll depends whatever subjects I want, and I'll put it up there. But I always have something in the middle, and whether it's a quote or whether it's a word. So I used to use the word, but I've got a quote on my vision board at the moment. But that just for me is it's the key word of the vision board, or it's the key words of the vision board that's going to keep on grounding me back to what my why is and what I'm trying to achieve as a whole that year, through lots of maybe mini goals or mini processes. But yeah, I just think there's so many different great strategies out there for goal setting, and SMART goals are definitely one of them, but all of them eventually will come back to finding your why. And yeah,
100%. And if you can sit there and write a SMART goal, right, on paper, it can make sense. But if it doesn't connect here, I am I can guarantee you're not gonna see it through. Because this is what keeps you going when life happens, and life happens like to all of us, is a guarantee, so I think doing the conscious work, doing the structured work is really important. Then let's bring it back to our I keep going back to heart space, but coming back to what do you feel about it? How's it going to make you feel when you get there? Because if we can connect to that, plus have all of that structure with our SMART goals and our vision boards, because cool thing about vision boards, and then even you're creating a mental vision board, really, a mental experience before it's happened. The cool thing about that is that that's talking to our subconscious so clearly. It's hearing and it's feeling it. So the more that you put those visuals in your space, both physically and mentally, that goal's yours, right?
Absolutely. I was going to say, and I do mind maps as well. That's the other one I forgot. So I'll have like my vision board, but then I'll have like my personal mind map and my business mind map, in terms of like, okay, this is what I want to achieve and this is how I'm going to get about it. But again, it comes down to that why in the middle. So I think, it's so many good strategies straight away. Hey, we didn't actually talk about what a SMART goal is. Just I'd like to think most people in the world understand what we're talking about when we refer to SMART goals, but for anyone who doesn't, it's okay. It's basically, SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time timed. So when we create a SMART goal, it's about making sure that it's ticking off all of those 5 things. So you might be specific as to, I want to get a touchdown. So that's, what you're trying to achieve. It's measurable physically by the touchdown. Is it achievable for you? Sure. Yep, it's achievable. Is it realistic? Well, as long as you don't have any injuries at the moment, absolutely, it's realistic. And timed, you might say, my goal is to get touchdown within 12 months. So that's what a SMART goal is, effectively, for anyone who's watching and doesn't understand what Ali and I are referring to when we're talking about a SMART goal.
Exactly. And the more specific you can get on it, written, but then also felt. It's really, the visual I just talked about is really creating a SMART goal. Where are you? What are you doing? Well, I'm getting my touchdown. Can you see it? I can see it. Where am I? Okay, my thighs touch the ground. It's measurable. You can go through all of that and create it here. And then, of course, getting it out of your body by writing it, by saying it, even talking it through with a friend, like your coach, and that's the thing. If you have a really great coach, they want to get to know what you deeply, deeply want, right? Your coach wants to, I hope, as a coach, I know that I know that you deeply want to know, like, why? Like, I want to know you as a person, Sim, if I'm training you, because I want to know exactly what will help you get to your goal, because my purpose from coaching you is to help you unlock your own goal. And unlock is such a good word for flexibility, isn't it? Like,
yes,
unlock, like,
don't
hold that in. Don't hold that in. Like, shout it out. Tell me what it is.
So much positive connotation with unlocking, because it's physically, when people say, oh, I physically feel unlocked. Now, whether they're, their joints aren't moving any differently necessarily, but they feel this sense of openness. So physically, from a musculoskeletal point of view, it's that unlocking of movement, but also it's that unlocking of your inner belief system and mental state, and this unlocking of the whole mind, body, and soul, which is special.
But in your inner space, like, your inner game determines your outer game. Like, I'm sure everyone's heard that saying. So let's go. Can we talk about that inner voice? I love the inner voice stuff. So we all have an inner voice, right? And our inner voice is that little voice that pops up when maybe you're feeling challenged, right? Or actually, no, let's start with a more positive inner voice, right? The inner voice that's telling you, yeah, you can do that. Of course you can do that. Yeah. And of course you do it, right? Because your body is aligning with what your inner voice is telling you.
Yeah.
The inner voice is shaped from every experience we have from before that we can remember, actually, I'm going to go there. My inner voice, one of my inner voices that held me back was, you're not smart enough. You're not smart enough. Because at school, there's the school system, right? That obviously it's measuring smart on a specific level. And I've always been like a mover. I've danced, done gymnastics my whole life. So that sit down and learn system wasn't for me. So then obviously getting graded on that, that kind of created this real belief within me that you're not smart enough. But imagine that if I have big goals in my life, if that voice is always popping up, that is definitely not going to help me move towards my big goals, right? Like, how could it? If I want to create something that I didn't know how to do, you're not smart enough. Bang, shut the book, leave the room. I'll just package that away. So if I can create questions, or even just pull out tools that I can use when that inner voice pops up, because I've done so much work on it. But of course, every time something new comes up, that little inner voice can pop up, and I'm like, hang on a minute, girlfriend. What if you were smart enough? Or,
there's different types of smart. Like, you are smart enough for what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And I now know, like, there's so many levels of smart, right? And the more that you kind of recognize that, and then the more that you can recognize everyone is so smart in their own way. But anyway, so that's that little inner voice. And we all have an inner voice. A lot of my members and clients have that inner voice. I don't want to hurt myself. I'll hurt myself. I'll injure myself. And sometimes it's really warranted because they have injured themselves in the past, right? So it's awesome that they have that inner voice. Its intention is positive. It wants to protect them. That inner voice for me, Eley, you're not smart enough, wanted to protect me from embarrassing myself, or from trying to do something and not knowing what to do and then failing, right? Because I like achieving. I've done that since I was little. I did gymnastics competitively, dancing. I like achievement. It really lights me up. So then you can imagine I don't love failing, right? So then why would I let myself be vulnerable if I truly believed that I wasn't smart enough to do it? And then the same, I will move off me, but whatever the inner voice is, you're going towards your splits, right? You're working on your splits. You've had hamstring injury in the past, and you're getting to the point. Remember, your body's only way of communication is through feel. It can't talk to you like you and I, Sim, are having a conversation. It's going to tell you it by a sensation. So you might have had like a small little tear in your hamstring, an attachment, right, in the past. So then when you feel any sensation, it's heightened, because your body remembers not only the feeling, the physical feeling, but it remembers all the emotions that came with it. You were gutted because you were like 10 centimeters off last time. And you worked so hard and then you couldn't train it for 6 months, right? So this whole story that comes with that sensation has then created a new inner voice to protect you from feeling that again, which is so awesome. How smart is our body?
Our bodies are incredible. Sorry, everything you're saying straight away, I'm like, this is what I constantly work with clients about, is that mindsetting post recovery. Once we've settled down the pain, it is all about but what if I tear it again, or what if I hurt myself again? And I'm always saying, but what if you don't?
What if you don't? Oh, I love this, because these are easy questions as a coach.
Yeah.
And like, but what if you don't? And you know what? You're so much more aware now. You've had that experience, and like every experience in our life, it's there to teach us something. You know, if we can take the lessons, like this time, wow, you're so aware that that can happen, because it did happen to you, and it created something within you, like a visceral reaction. Like your whole body was like, I don't want to say traumatized, but was affected by it, right? So then, yes, it's important that that comes up to protect you, because sometimes we don't want to push past that point, especially with flexibility. It's not about pushing past a point. It's about getting to your current point, breathing and trusting your body to go only where it needs to go. Yeah, it's not likely to injure yourself when you're doing something like the splits if you've done the strength work, if you're doing the relevant stretching, and if you're going with your body and never forcing against.
Yes.
The inner voice is healthy, because, you know, the inner voice, it's your gut. Yeah, your gut is saying no. You know, we've all been in a situation where it's like, I don't know if I should do that. Line up with your gut. Yeah, sometimes the inner voice is there and you listen to it. Yeah, you have to make the choice. That's not your coach's or your physio's or anyone's responsibility but your own. But I think it's important to ask yourself a question. If you are like 10 centimeters off, right, your big picture goal is to get these splits. You know, you've done the work, you've done the rehab, you work with Sim on your rehab. Yeah, you're doing the Flexercise online splits program. You know, you're getting the work. You are really seeing the picture of yourself getting there, and you know your deeper purpose is because if I get this split, what else can I do in my life?
Yeah.
Take a breath, hear the inner voice. You might injure yourself, or you might not.
Yeah.
Or you might get that goal. Or if you don't even want to ask a question, just breathe. See where your body goes. Your body will go wherever your attention is. Yeah. What is it? What's that saying? Intention.
I know what you mean.
Attention in where your attention goes. Oh, anyway, we'll have to find that out. But anyway, you know what I mean.
I was going to say, it all reminds me of one of my favorite sayings, which is but what if I fall? And then the response being, but what if you fly? And I absolutely love it. And I adore it because one of my Pole Physios actually put it up on one of her stories today.
I
and
love that.
How timely is that? That is beautiful.
Look at us, just all like, I had this, my word of the year actually like 3 years ago was flowing trust. And it was so funny because I was in this workshop with a mentor, and my body, because, you know, I'm such a mover, my body, when she was asking me, I was swaying like this, and I was like, oh, it's flowing trust. And my body is making the infinity symbol, which is like everything connecting to everything else. And what you've just said, I'm like, oh, flowing trust. Like she's just said it. We've just gone there. Like everything's so connected. Anyway.
It was meant to be that we were supposed to be speaking today about all of this, considering I saw this quote this morning, and it's just full circle. Absolutely.
So cool. And so, yeah.
I know obviously when when people are watching this, I'm assuming that they are keeping up with everything that we're saying, but I just want to reiterate that when you're referring to gut, we're obviously not physically referring to your gut. We're referring to the mental component, your mental.
Yeah, of
But
course.
there's just some countries, so I know people will be watching from overseas, and English might not be their first language, so I'm just going to make sure that they're.
So then how could I explain it? It's like, it's the natural feeling you get when you're in decision-making mode, or you know, that it's like the inner conflict, like I want to do this, but I want to get my splits, but I don't have the time. Or you can do a real, like, but what's your gut telling you? Well, my gut's telling me I really want to do it, but consciously I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Okay. How is that a problem? So you could literally ask that to yourself. Well, how is it a problem? Well, I don't have the time, so then I can't do my splits training, so then I won't get my splits. Or how's that a problem? Well, then I can't do XYZ trick on the pole. How's that a problem? Well, then I can't progress in levels, and I love training with my friends, so I really want to go up together. How's that a problem? Well, then I don't build the connections that I felt like I wanted to build. How is that a problem? Blah, blah. And then you can get to the heart of that matter too, right?
Yep.
It's like lining up with your gut is really, really important, because it always comes back.
Yeah.
That infinity, she always comes back. Like, you know, when you're like, I really want to do this, and then you let go of it because you didn't prioritize it. I really want to do this. I really want to do this. Then you're like, actually, this situation happened with me. It happened with me last year, like end of last year. I wanted to do my very first Flexercise retreat.
Which you are now, which is amazing.
Which I am now. I'm so excited, but I was so nervous because to be able to offer it out, this was huge for me. I've never done anything like this. I've wanted to do it for years and years and years. But I never had the confidence because I've never done anything like that. Who would want to come for a whole weekend? No, but like, you know, all that inner voice, it's like hold me back. But my gut keeps bringing me back to it every single year, but I don't do it. And for me, I had to outlay like a lot of the cost before so I could offer it, because I couldn't be like, hey, this is where we're going, and then like miss the accommodation. Like, you know, I have to offer out a plan. So it was a big risk for me. So I called my very, very good friend, and also I'd consider her a mentor. And she was like, we're very similar. And she said, what's your gut tell you? I was like, my gut tells me like I'm already there. My gut tells me I have to do this, because another thing that I know about myself is that I love moving outside, right? I love being around other people who are inspired and want to learn and grow. I love being in beautiful scenery. I love new experience, and connection is one of my very, very highest values. What is this retreat going to be? All of those things with 10 women who also are holding those values, because they're coming to this experience like, how could I not do this? I have to do this, and I have to do it now because I haven't done anything that's really scared me in a long time. And she's like, well, that's your answer. She's like, is it ethical? Like, you know, obviously ask me all those questions, which as a good coach should do. And I was like, yep. Bang, booked it. Very nervous, still nervous. And then of course, when you align yourself with your gut space, when you do your decisions based on what your gut tells you, the energy you put out comes right back in at you. And of course it worked out really, really well. But yeah, that's another example, right? If you align with your gut, then yeah, your gut, I keep saying gut, if you align with that deeper purpose, you know, what your body, it's more like what your body is drawing you to do. You know, when you're in a situation, you're almost like leaning forward into it, like ready to go at the start line, or moments where you don't want to be somewhere, like in, you know, I've been in social situations before, I didn't want to really be there, and you can feel your whole body, it like caves in, it makes you small, you want to pull back, like your body tells you before your mind even knows what you're doing. Anyway, that's the gut.
I was going to say, well, we do need to congratulate you on your first retreat coming up in February. It's booked out. So again, it shows how amazing you are, and that you, by following your gut instincts, you definitely have done the right thing for you, but also for so many around you that you get to inspire. And I know you inspire on a daily basis.
Oh,
so very happy and very excited for you. Yeah.
Well, actually that brought up for me, which I really wanted to talk about with goal setting as well. So if we can go back there, is because I started telling you, like, I know for me, I love when I'm outdoors, my body moves like next level, right? So choosing your training and choosing to set yourself up in the best possible way now. So like when you're doing your training, if you know you love training with a friend, you call that friend today and you say, hey, do you have similar, like what goals are your goals? Cool. Even if they're not the same goals, can we book in like every second Tuesday? It doesn't have to be like 5 times a week. It can be small. Set yourself up to align with your goals in the way that you will enjoy it, right? If you don't
accountability buddy, maybe.
An accountability buddy is great. Shout it from the rooftops. Tell your friends your goals. Put it wherever you want to put it. It might be social media. It might be, it can be anywhere. You can just, ring friend, ring your mum, whatever, and put it out there, because that's a really nice way to stay accountable. But yeah, also put yourself in the environment that makes you feel good to do it. Yeah. Don't do anything because you should. I always challenge my partner because he says should a lot, like should do this, I should have done that. And I'm like, no, should doesn't feel good. What about could? I could do it this way. I could do it inside, or I could do it outside. Where does your body lean? Are you already walking out the door? Get out there and train outside, right? I think, yeah, it's all about, and then another thing about alignment and the body, like if you're aligning with that gut space. Now, I think we can say gut space with people understanding what we mean. If you're aligning with that, your body is going to move right into the perfect alignment to get you to the skills that you're working on.
Yeah. You make me think of a series that we did maybe 6-8 months ago. Christine, one of our physios, did it, and we were talking about was it Christine? It might have been Danny, sorry. Yeah, no, it was Danny. It was nervous system upregulation and downregulation. So in terms of if you're trying to achieve your goals, think about what your state of your nervous system is. Are you trying to force something to happen and then you're stressed, you're running around like a headless chook, you're trying to force in some stretch time, and you're trying to do a whole bunch of things, but you're not actually listening to the flow of what your body is actually wanting at that point, and it's upregulated, it's stressed out. You're going to, one, be more likely to injure yourself, but two, you're less likely to achieve your goals. If you're in a more relaxed state, if you're connecting with your surroundings, the people that are there, you are feeling a little bit more comfortable, your system's down regulated, you're more likely to succeed and achieve your goals. And there is so much evidence on this. So yeah, something you said made me go that way. But
it was about putting yourself in the best setting, and I think that might be where you went. I don't know, but I think you're so right. I think people have this all or nothing mentality, right? So I've set my big picture goal. I want to be able to do splits by the end of this year, but I got sick for a week and then I had a holiday booked and then I didn't end up training for 3 weeks. So bang, 2023 splits out the window. I'm never getting my splits. I missed 3 weeks. No, that's okay. Like, you listen to your body, and that's what being flexible is all about. And even the word be flexible with getting to your end picture goal, mentally and physically. Yeah. Because nothing's ever going to work. You can only control your space, but anything that happens in the world around you, you can't control. So you can't set your goal based on the perfect circumstances, because they're just never going to be. And you're so right. Like, a lot of us goal kicking, goal getter people out there, we can very much lean into all or nothing, because it can feel really good to be like, yeah, I said I was going to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, rest half day, Saturday, like I set this massive like training schedule. And then of course, if you're someone who is going from zero training in your flexibility, for example, to then booking yourself in for 5 days of training next year, I can almost guarantee that will not work for you, because it's too overwhelming. Yeah. It's important to start yourself slow. Like, if you don't train at all in your flexibility, your very first step might just be 3 days a week, I spend 10 minutes rolling out my body. Yeah. Did I enjoy that? Did that feel like it was enough? And you reflect. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Oh, wow. I actually ended up doing it for 30 minutes and just went with where my body went. then you can build up. But I think it's definitely a goal setting. I don't want to say mistake. I don't want to use language like that. I want to say it can kind of set you up to feel like you're not doing good enough if you can't tick it off. If you're type A and you want to tick off, yeah, I think that can set you up to feel like you've failed when you haven't, and then set you up to kind of get into a negative space about achieving that exciting goal that you've built this beautiful purpose for, because you've asked yourself the question, for what purpose? And it would be a shame to take that away from yourself because you set yourself up from the start of the year with such incredibly high expectations compared to what you're doing prior. Do you know what I mean?
I think we need to talk about this a bit more, because I see it a lot as a physio, where kind of the example you gave before, where someone has perhaps been on holidays for a week, a couple of weeks, gotten sick, and they've set themselves a goal. So they feel like they've fallen off the wagon. They maybe started off really well the first week and then it just went downhill, and they beat themselves up. And it blows my mind in terms of you can create some goals, but have realistic expectations about how you achieve your goals in terms of, the flexibility around them. It's okay if we're not able to train 2 or 3 times a week consistently. Consistency is whatever you're able to achieve in a realistic setting, and it maybe doesn't always look like 3 times a week every week. There are definitely highs and lows of our weeks, and we need to be flexible and go with that. And I think that's really important to understand, because you're saying, the type A personality, which I can be a little bit type A sometimes. Actually, probably most of the time I'm type A, but it's really interesting. In the last 5 years, I've done a lot of work in terms of letting go. And so I'm type A personality, but I now have the ability to go, nah. So if I didn't do that, it's okay. It's fine. And it doesn't make me less likely to be able to achieve my goals because I wasn't able to do this one session. In fact, I actually took better care of myself because I listened to my body that week, which means I'm less likely to get injured or less likely to achieve my goals if I was to try push myself. So it comes back to that, listening and going with your body, like you said before, as opposed to going against your body. So I think this is a really important topic for people out there who create goals or find their why, and they're trying to work towards something specific, and they just are relentless on themselves emotionally when they're not necessarily abiding to it. So when things potentially fall by the wayside initially, don't beat yourself up. When you're able to, when your earliest opportunity, jump back on and do what you can do. So if, for a month or 2 months, you just can't seem to do something because life gets in the way, that's okay. Don't let it beat you up. Get back on board when you're feeling comfortable to, or reassess. Are they still your goals? Like, is it still what you're trying to achieve? Has things shifted within your body? Is it still what you're after?
Oh, this brings up a lot of stuff for me that I would love to talk about. So, number one, I feel like people see their big picture goal as they've failed until it's achieved. But literally nothing, I don't think anything can be without the things that came before it, or the building blocks so I always say to my clients, like, cool, so your big picture goal is over splits, 20-inch touchdown. What are our mini milestones? Like, what are we going to say in a month? What have we ticked off? What are you telling me in a month? What can you do? We break it down, but we go backwards. In the big picture goal, if I want to get let's say, just use yoga blocks, double block, 2 yoga blocks over splits by end of the year. Well, then by middle of the year, I probably want to have 1 block over split, don't I? And so then 3 months from now, I definitely want to have my touchdown. I wouldn't advise going that much progression, but I'm just doing it as like a mathematical breakdown. Yes, but so do you know what I mean? And then so that means by in 2 months' time, I need to have trained consistently, at least twice a week, for whatever it is. The mini milestones are perfect for you. Whatever comes up for you is the right answer, not what I tell you. Yeah.
It's realistic for that individual. And so for you, say if you're like an inch off touchdown, that would be realistic for you. Like that would be completely realistic to, in 2 to 3 months, have your touchdown. That's realistic. But if you are starting splits for the first time, that is not a realistic goal.
No. And that's why it's important to do those SMART goals and to check out with your body if that's like an ethical goal for your body. And then if you're not sure if it is, you reach out to the professional people around you and you gather information to then make, goals that are achievable for you, so that you feel really, really good about the goals you set, so that next year when you go to set your next goal, you've got these great references in your body because you were able to achieve last year's goal. And that's the thing about goal setting as well. Like, they're actually not really about, this just came up right now. Every time I have one client specifically, every time she achieves something ridiculous, like she blows my mind what she's been able to achieve. I bet you know who she is.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Every time, the day she achieves it, now I want to do that I want to do it this way.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Oh, I love her. She inspires me. I've got goosebumps again just thinking about her. Oh, I can't wait to start back with her this year. It's not about the end goal. It's the work to get there. It's the effort. It's the mental shifts. It's what she now believes about what she can do. So yeah, I think it's really important to celebrate the mini wins along the way, because mini milestones are what make up the big picture. It can't be without them.
And what I really like about this individual that we're talking about is the why. And the why comes down to I want to see what my body's capable of.
Yeah.
They want to push it to what they can manage to do. And so that it's fascinating, and I love working with them for that reason. So
it's off its head. Anyway, so there's that. Anyway, moving on. It's not about them.
So Eley and I are having so much fun chatting today that we are just going to keep on going. And as a result, I'm splitting this episode up into 2 parts. So thank you for joining us for part 1 of Eley's chat with myself about improving flexibility through goal setting and inner voice, and just improving your general goal setting. So Eley can be found at flexercise_ on Instagram, or www.flexercise.com.au, where you can look into all of her amazing services, like one-on-one sessions online with her, as well as her online programs for all the different types of splits out there. So fronts, middles, pancakes, needle scales, dancers tilt, back bends, all of the different flexibility, mobility goals, heaps of things. And then also you can follow her to keep an eye out on her retreats that she's doing. So she's got her one in February coming up that's booked out, but also we'll be looking out to put some more, and I believe they meet later in the year, and definitely more hopefully in years to come, because I want to be there. It'd be amazing.
You have to be there. Can't have fun without you.
Absolutely. So we will say goodbye for now, but it won't be too long. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming out next week, where we'll be continuing this conversation. Thanks everyone.
Bye.